right? And when they talk about diversity and they talk about equity and they talk about the things that have happened, they are angry. And the words that they use are angry words. And so you can just imagine what that's like. My goal and my intention for pursuing this stemmed from a couple different things. Is my experiences that I had gone through, and I haven't talked about the times I was discriminated against. I don't focus on that. It's a part of my life, I'm not going to lie. But like I said, I wanted to focus on the end result, okay? Because now I'm going to take you back to the beginning. I was born in 1968. I was born in April of 1968. For a long time, that meant absolutely nothing to me. Now it means a lot. Why? What was yesterday? What was yesterday? Right? Now, if you didn't think about that yesterday, shame on you. Right? Those connections are even more meaningful to me now. I was born in 1968. I was born in April. Then, I was put into foster care, and I'm going to say about 6 months, 7 months later, the Flunkers swooped in and adopted me. Who does that in 1968? For those of you who aren't quite understanding of this, the Flunkers are not black. So for them to swoop in and adopt a little black boy in 1968 after all the stuff that had just gone down, that's crazy. That's crazy. They did it anyway. Now here's the thing. Over all of those years, my parents didn't necessarily talk about diversity and talk about those adoption things, and I'll tell you why. Because my father, especially, being the man of faith that he is, and I'm telling you, my siblings have said this too, I am more like my adoptive father than any of them are. The way that he has navigated life as a pastor, as a missionary, retired missionary, first in Puerto Rico, then in Brazil, and I watch him as he interacts with people that, you know somebody who has got the most kind, patient, how many of you know somebody who is just kind, patient, no matter what the circumstances are? How many of you know somebody like that? And just, it's impactful, isn't it? It really is. If you don't care about that, I'm sorry, but it is impactful. And so I'm at that point now, you know, from the time I got my master's degree until now, where no matter what I do, because I'm not necessarily in a called position anymore, but I'm okay with that. Because my childhood, the way I was raised, growing up, when I did, where I did, all of those things, and then all of the things that have taken place until this point in time today have made me who I am, okay? I think about diversity, equity, inclusion in a completely different way. And the reason why I do that is because of all those things that have happened to me, as well as how I was raised. And I was raised to think in that way. So when I'm out talking with people, I'm not angry, okay? Not in that way. There's a disappointment to this, but it's called sin, and I know that that's the case. And so that's how I view it, as a part of sin. So when I'm dealing with these things and I'm addressing these things, you can be as angry as you want. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation. Because ultimately, how I navigate the work that I do, no matter whether I'm talking with somebody who is strong in their faith or somebody who is just figuring things out for the first time. Let your speech be with grace. You know what? There by God's grace go I. I told you a lot. My story is there's a lot to it. When I retire, I'm going to have enough. If any of you are good publishers, I'm going to need some help. But there's enough stories there, and I think sharing that is going to be impactful because everybody's journey is different. But I know that because this is my focus, there are a lot of times I can sit down and talk with people and help them to understand that I walk my journey through grace because that's what he's bestowed upon me. I am amazed at, number one, the journey that I've had, the challenges that I had, the blessings that they are, despite the hardships that have gone along with it. You know, those of you who know me know that last year was not easy for my family either, okay? Because the Lord doesn't force these things upon you, but there are challenges and trials that come your way that help you to refocus your attention, you know? I'm one who walks through life having been, without the ability to walk. I know that I've walked through life having struggles in school. I know through my walk through life, I have had to figure out my place as an individual in this world, which is kind of confusing when you're a part of the white family, but you're not white. And then you don't fit into any category because you live in a white family, you grew up in a Hispanic culture, but you're neither of those, and yet all of them at the same time. So last year, about March, the Lord decided to refocus my attention again, okay? So my wife was diagnosed with a very unknown type of cancer. And this is about a year after I had found myself unemployed for a while. So we're just recovering from that year. And the year before that, we were in a legal battle for about 3 years. So this is like a decade full of trials. And yet, my focus is on the grace of God. Because the fact of the matter is, when you hear a lot of stories, they don't end so well. And I'm still here. And I have tons of things to share and tons of things to be joyful about despite the hardships that I went through, okay? And so I'm going to encourage you this morning because each of your paths are very different, okay? Some of you have some stories that are just as long as mine, and they'll probably be longer by the time it's all said and done because you're much younger than I am. And Lord willing, you'll be able to share your story, but hopefully and prayerfully, your story is going to be such that when you speak to the people around you, to your children, to your grandchildren, to your friends, your neighbors, to people who you've just met. I love meeting people. I drive a Lyft on the side. I started doing that when my wife was out of work, dealing with her treatment, okay? So in addition to working a 50, 60-hour week, then I go late at night and I go out and I drive Lyft. It's amazing the conversations that take place. And the people are like, why do you do this? You just worked all day. And I'm like, this isn't work. This is part of my sharing, okay? And they're like, that's amazing. I'm like, well, I've been blessed, and now I can, share that with you, and let's talk about these things. But I'm going to tell you something. All the anger that comes out sometimes, it's a perfect opportunity for me to witness. It really is. Right? It really is. Seasoned with salt so that you would know how you should respond to each person. Like I said, as you continue on your journey, think about the grace that has been bestowed upon you. No matter what your journey has been like, no matter what your background, no matter who you are, you're going to run through some trials. I guarantee it. We live in a sinful world. However, how you respond to that. And this is one of the things about you being here that just, I can't even, I'm an emotional guy. And if I start thinking about this too much, I will start to tear up. Because you guys have an opportunity being here. And I know a lot of the people that are on staff here, and they have these things in mind for you. So please, take this in. Take it in the way that it's meant to be. It's a blessing of God. It's God's grace bestowed upon you so that when you leave here, you will know how you should respond. Blessings on the rest of your year. Thank you for having me here today. And Lord willing, I'll see you again.